I mean, well, basically, I went from never having touched cocaine at all to within the space of 12 months, I had an habit where I was doing probably 2 ounces a week. I'll have to go straight then, do you know what I mean? And we'll see what happens. And that was like every choice or every decision I was faced with, it was like, well, what would a straight person do in this? But then I had to spend the next 10 years kind of developing sober living skills, really. And this was kind of started off with no chef experience or anything like that, and ended up running big kitchens in big hotels, head chef, blah, blah, blah. So I worked 6 months in mental health, one-to-one support, and just loved it, absolutely fell in love with it. So I ended up staying there for sort of like 4 years. So then I've got this great dream job working in criminal justice, and then he brought me along to one of the Recovery Academy events, and like I say, that just really blew my mind. I mean, I wanted to set up my own recovery group very, very early on. So the first sort of 12 months was just me working, or first 2 years actually, was just me working with a room full of addicts. So people just started to put on different groups, different activities, and that was why I deliberately sought funding outside of the substance use field, because I was fearful that we'd be deliberately undermined, and kind of recognising that for a lot of these guys that they've never felt part of anything. The only thing they've ever felt a part of is that using community. The only way they can get back, the only way they can get through it is by relying upon the support and the love and the encouragement of other people. Growing for change is a big part of what we do. So one of the very first things that we ever sort of tried to provide for people was like gardening allotment, growing stuff. So Bwyd Da Bangor we are, so Good Food Bangor, which is basically, it's kind of like a 40-seater restaurant with a coffee shop, a surplus food scheme, food club. But basically we provide training and employment opportunities for people with long-term complex barriers to employment. It's just one of these weird things about recovery that we actually get well and we gain strength by giving our time and our efforts away to other people. Yeah. When the lockdowns kicked off, we thought we had this boxed off. But then we started getting phone calls or requests for support for people. Basically, you've got a lot of probably half a dozen ex-alcoholics and ex-drug addict chefs all locked in a house together with a big massive allotment outside, and we just linked in very quickly with all the supermarkets, and we were just pulling in like a load of surplus food, because obviously there was shopping was all over the place, and just making meals, freezing them, and then delivering them out, and then it just mushroomed, and I think the last count we did, we'd done something like 80,000 meals, and